Assalamu alaikum and welcome. In this lesson, we'll talk about Arabic word formation and the logic in Arabic words. I'll give you a general introduction to the root and pattern system, which you'll need to learn in order to master Arabic. To begin with, we'll talk about the different noun forms in the system, and then we'll go on to talk about the different verb forms. Now, these are two different processes that you need to understand. So the first one is about extracting nouns from a certain verb, like for here, kataba. This is a root here. The root verb is kataba, and you extract different noun forms from it. The second system is about the verbs themselves. The root itself, you can extract different verb forms from this very same root, each one with a slightly different meaning. So we'll start with the noun forms. I'm sure many of you are familiar with the root and pattern system. It's basically taking a root letter, usually 3-lettered, it can be a 4-lettered root and so on, but taking this root and adding to it additional letters, and they are specific letters in each case. So adding these additional letters, maybe changing some the signs on these letters, the marks, the fatha and the dhamma and kasra, they will be changed according to a pattern also. And accordingly, you create a new word. This new pattern, okay, it has a slightly new meaning from the root, but still linked to it. So this is as for noun forms. These are examples for nouns extracted from one root verb. The root here is kataba, and we add to it specific letters. In the case of noun forms, there are actually 10 letters. I've mentioned here a group, and you notice that the 3 vowels are from these letters that can be added to nouns, and indeed they appear here. They appear in the middle of words, of course, so in the middle here and also the middle here, you see it, and the other letters can appear in the beginning or in the end. So these new words here, these new nouns here, each one has a slightly different meaning from the root, and of course forms only noun. So the first one from kataba becomes katib, katib, katib here with adding an alif as a second letter and changing the third letter, changing the mark on it to a kasra, becomes the doer of an action, the subject or the doer. The second example, maktub, you see we add a meme, and in the middle a long vowel. Okay, so it becomes, of course, with the change of marks, it becomes maktub, maktub. Now this here is an object, which is about something written. If the first one is the doer, the writer, the second one means something which is written. The third word here is kitab. Now kitab is slightly different, but still remember, look, the same thing happened here. We added a long vowel in the middle and changed the marks. So kitab is also an object, and it means book in this case. And the last word is the location or the place of where you write. So it's maktaba, maktaba, with the additional letter in the beginning and in the end. So these are new forms of words that are linked to the root or to the meaning of the root. And this is the basic system. Let's take a look at the visual explanation for this root and pattern system. So this here, these are the same nouns taken from the previous slide. I've added 2 more to them with slight differences, which is the addition of a ta marbuta or not. So kitab, there's kitab book, and there's kitaba meaning writing, and there's maktaba and maktab with a slight different meaning. Maktaba means library, and maktab is the desk or the location where you write on. So if we agree that the root of these nouns are the 3 letters kaf, ta, and ba. Then the root verb extracted from it is كتب here, and it's the base for these nouns. So if we were to take these certain nouns and build from them, it would become katib and maktub, two different nouns. And then there's here kitab and maktab and maktaba, and finally kitaba. So you see all of these nouns share one root verb. They're connected to it. The meaning embedded in kataba is forwarded to these different patterns. As for the different verb forms, now that's another story, but it starts once again with the same root and the same first verb form that we just explained, that was the cup of the flower, but this time you're extracting a new pattern system for verbs. So if in the previous they were nouns, all the words that we extracted were nouns, now we're going to see verbs. So kataba, meaning write, can become kataba, kataba itself. So you see it's the same letters but doubled in the middle, so that as a shadda, it means there's a double ta here. Now this is also a verb here, except that it's a slightly different meaning. So if kataba means to write, kataba means to have someone write it. So it's like carrying out the action for someone else. The doubling of a letter, the shadda, also means that the action is repeated. So there's also a system in the meaning itself, but it's still linked and embedded in the root. So this is kataba and kattaba. There's kataba and kataba. Kataba. Notice that the third letter doesn't have a kasra, it has a fatha. So this here is also a verb, and it means to do the action with someone else. So if kataba is you are right, one person writes, kataba means two people are writing. The third word is also a verb, takataba. Takataba. This is here a verb meaning that the action was done between two or more people. So it becomes takataba. This one here is kataba, and he has an additional ta. The ta also gives the meaning of gradual occurrence of the action. So it's like these people, or these two people, wrote together slowly, gradually. The fourth verb in kataba also has the same sort of like connected meaning to the takataba. And the last one is taktaba. Now if you add the alif, sin and ta, it means to ask or seek an action. So it means to have someone or seek an action, ask from someone to write. So these are five verbs, five verb forms extracted from the root verb, the first form. I want to look at a visual explanation to that. Remember before it was kataba, okay, the first verb form, and these nouns extracted from it. We want to look at now the verbs themselves. The verbs themselves, they are now the cup in each flower. So there's kataba, and that's kattaba, when you're making someone reading or carrying the action to someone else. So kattaba, and kattaba itself has its noun. There's a certain noun that you extract from it. You see there's the ta here with the shadda. So in its noun, the ta also has a shadda. So that's slightly different. These are not this is not the same noun taken from here. It's slightly different. So it reads kuttab. The following verb, istaktaba. Istaktaba, when we said that if you add alif, sin and ta, this is here the last verb. So if you add it, it means ask to write. So it itself has its own noun taken, extracted from it, it becomes istiktab. And then there's kataba. كاتب, we said that this means to write or wrote between two persons. So its noun becomes مكاتب. مكاتب. And there's اكتتب. This is also one form. Its noun is اكتتاب. You'll find many different forms extracted. Of course, they don't apply to each verb. It depends on the meaning of a verb. But in the case of kataba, it applies. You have kataba, takataba, and kattaba, and so on. Let's take a look at another example with the root fa'ala. Fa'ala. So fa'ala, we want to extract the noun forms of it first. So if the root is fa and ain and lam, then the verb is fa'ala. Now that's the cup of the flower, and the different nouns extracted from it apply here. It becomes fa'il, which is the doer, maf'ul, the object, and fu'al, another form of object, mufa'il, and maf'ala, and the last one fi'ala. Now these all share the embedded meaning of fa'ala. Fa'ala means do. So if this is the root, these are the different nouns extracted from it. So let's take a look at how we can extract the different verb forms from this first verb form, fa'ala. So here it becomes fa'ala. So you see the doubling of the middle letter. And there's fa'ala when we're adding a long vowel in the middle. And there's tafa'ala, the case of adding two and more letters. So these here are different verb forms linked to the verb fa'ala. But they have slightly different meanings. You can check the translations, but they're still linked and to the meaning of fa'ala. If we look at them at the graphical form, so this here is the verb fa'ala, and it has its noun, its specific noun. There's istaf'ala with its noun. There's fa'ala, meaning the two that had completed the action together and with its noun, and there's ifta'ala, and so on. So this here is the complete selection. These are here 7 root verbs for the same root fa'ala. So these are the verb forms, and this here now around them, the flowers are the noun forms. Let's practice building new noun forms for these nouns. Now, if you look at them very quickly, you'll notice that they share the same root letters. They're in black, the ha and mim and dal, repeated in all of them. So if you read them, it's Hamid, Mahmoud, Ahmed, Hamid, and so on. So the root here, as you notice, are the 3 letters ha, mim, and dal. They're repeated in all the nouns. That's ha, mim, and dal. And if we want to look at the root verb, which is the basic first verb form, it would be ha. With the marks, they would be ha, mi, and da, hamida. And from it, we'll extract the different nouns. So if you notice, it's like a template that the new nouns will be built upon, and it's repeated and applied to all verbs. So for Hamida, the first word, which is Hamid, would be right here, the ha, and then after it the alif, and then mim and dal with a kasra under the mim. Forgive me for my writing, it's very difficult writing on the screen here. That's Hamid up there, and Mahmoud also here, mah, and the mim, and then the dal. Forgive me again. So it's like a template. that these new nouns will be built upon. And the same thing with the different verb forms. And this applies to all roots and verb forms. So the same thing, it's like a template you build the new words upon. And the truth is that you don't need to memorize all the noun and verb forms. It's more about practicing it. And so if you practice it enough, practice makes perfect. If you practice it enough, you'll find that you will recognize the meaning of new words that you hear. You will simply guess them and be able also to build new forms of words out of practice itself. The natives themselves, they don't study all the verb and noun forms. They have this instinctive understanding for it because of hearing it and practicing it more often. So if you can find in the description box below a link to our blog where where you can download more worksheets to practice these verb forms. These certain forms that I used in this presentation and even more, and you'll find different explanations in certain videos. There are two specific videos I'd like you to go through. One explains noun forms and the other one verb forms with more detailed explanation and examples. So I advise you to go and check those, and thank you so much.